tough after the Houthis hit at the perimeter of the Ben Gurion Airport on Sunday. The consequences, it says, that will be felt by the Iranian-based people, let me say the bad guys there who hit there. We want to take a look at what is going on there and what the Israeli government intends to do moving forward. This morning, we're being joined by a Middle East expert, Westropp-Evans. Thank you indeed for joining us on the program today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Asha, for joining us again. I hope I can hear you. Thank you. All right, so Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is very unhappy at the moment. And if there's anything that a lot of people are asking in terms of questions, it would be like, is Israeli defense now easy for the opposition to hit at? Is that where you are at the moment?
No, frankly, I mean, what we saw here, there were the full interception technologies that Israel utilizes against the Houthi missiles. We've seen over the last sort of period of engagement, over 27 different ballistic missiles fired at Israel, the vast majority of which have been taken down in the past successfully by Israel's interception technologies. That being said, this is and was a critical failure in that. And the airport, obviously in Israel, being a key potential target, despite being a critical civilian infrastructure, the Houthis are not afraid to target the airport. And this one did slip through the defense systems. This is being investigated within Israel at the moment to understand why this happened, how this happened, and how to prevent this from happening again, because obviously this is a significant failure of the interception technology that Israel utilizes, which has up until now been incredibly effective.
Sure. I guess we spoke with one of your colleagues also on our news on Sunday, and he said a lot of things in regards to what kind of response Israel will put forward to the Houthis. What is it going to be?
Look, the key thing that we've seen here, and this has come from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, is the understanding that while significant action needs to be taken against the Houthis so that they understand that these ballistic missiles will be responded to, that they cannot act with impunity, in reality, the people behind this and the source of these ballistic missiles comes from Iran. The Houthis are not building ballistic missiles capable of flying thousands of kilometers and striking precise targets. The Iranian regime is the ones providing them with that technology and that capability, and they are the ones that need to be held to account. And Israel will take stringent action in the future to ensure that Iran is aware that they cannot act with impunity via their proxies, as they attempted to do in the past with Hamas and Hezbollah, amongst others. This is the key element that Israel will focus on, and this is the key path that we will see in terms of a response to this. Obviously, direct targets against sites in Yemen where they might be firing missiles, or in order to disincentivize the Houthis from continuing to attack Israel. But again, understanding at the end of the day, Iran are the masterminds. They are the puppet masters behind what's happening, and they need to be held to account.
All right, Asham. The report says that 8 people were injured, and in fact that some paramedics took care of them at the moment. Before we deep in our conversations about what Israel will be doing moving forward, how well are they faring?
Yeah, fortunately, it appears that there weren't any very severe or critical injuries. But that being said, there have been moderate to severe injuries. People who were struck by the shockwave, others who had damage to limbs and various body parts. Really striking of an airport, a civilian infrastructure where people are attempting to go about their day, and a key access point in and out of Israel. This is not to be taken lightly, and Israel is taking this action incredibly seriously. They understand the consequences. We understand the consequences of what's going to happen here and what this means for Israel as a whole. And those that were injured, again, very fortunately, no one was killed in this strike, but that was a pure matter of luck and happenstance. As you can see from the footage that has come out of this strike, it was incredibly close to the main control tower. So again, Israel is taking this strike incredibly seriously, with all the implications that come from it in terms of both personal civilian life and those that may have been injured, but of course wider infrastructure in Israel as well.
All right, Asha, everybody in the world believes that Israel, perhaps of course maybe United States, you have the best defense system in the air anywhere in the world. But now the THAAD system, as well as your long-range arrow defense system, seem to have failed on Sunday. Is the government worried about this? And if it is, what is it going to do?
Look, I won't use the word worry, but I will say that there are indeed deep investigations going on into why these failures occurred. And this is something that Israel has done in the past and will always do in terms of looking to better these technologies. They are not perfect. Everyone understands this inside Israel, and anyone in the defense infrastructure understands this, that as effective as Israel's missile shields are, and they are incredibly effective, literally thousands of rockets, missiles, drones, and all manner of projectiles have been fired at Israel now since October 7th, and frankly, long before, but since October 7th, 2023, when Hamas started this bloody conflict. But Israel has managed to block the vast majority. Occasionally, a missile or another projectile does slip through the cracks, and that must be investigated. And what the IDF will do is investigate, understand what went wrong, and seek to improve and patch up those holes in the missile defense shields. But this is a key focus. Israel uses its missiles in order to defend its people, while the Houthis use their missiles exclusively to attack targets thousands of kilometers away, while their own people suffer and starve under their brutal regime.
You know, Asha, all over the world, all eyes on Israel, even since the October 7 attacks from within the Gaza Strip, so to speak, from Hamas. But taking a look at what happened on Sunday, Israel before now had called on the United States to collaborate with it to hit Iran. Is this on the table?
Certainly, I believe everything is on the table, and I will leave it to the military, strategists on the inside, the military themselves, to decide what the final options are. But I will say that based on conversations we've seen coming out from the leaders of the defense industry here in Israel, and of course Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu himself, that indeed all options are on the table right now. This strike is being taken as seriously as possibly can be. Israel cannot allow these sort of ongoing strikes to continue without retaliation, and to think that the Houthis themselves, and as I said earlier, their puppet masters in Tehran, to think that they can simply get away with this without retribution and response. Israel will take measured and targeted action to respond to these actions, and they will hold Iran accountable. That is the key feature here, that Iran, it is understood, is the puppet master behind everything, and those within the government and within Israel's opposition understand this. And hopefully the US administration understands as well that Iran must be held accountable, and that it simply cannot be allowed to continue to do these sort of attacks while still attempting to negotiate with the US on nuclear agreements and others. That's just bad faith. That's not decent action. Israel will not tolerate this.
Asha, everybody expects Israel to retaliate. I mean, Israel hardly ever allows any attack to go without a retaliation. But the Iranian Ministry of Defense is also threatening that if there is any kind of reprisal, whether from you or your United States, your ally, that it will go ahead and hit your critical infrastructure. That in fact, the Sunday attack was to let you know that it can. How do you respond to this?
Well, again, Iran has now directly sent two major missile strikes from Tehran coming through to Israel over the past year and a bit. And, Israel was managed to successfully, alongside our comprehensive network of allies in the region, to block the vast majority of those missiles from coming in and to prevent any major infrastructure damage, and has struck successfully in Iran in the past, deep in the heart of Iran and their military infrastructure in the past. And potentially these things are on the table again. Again, no one in this region, certainly no one in Israel, is looking to escalate these sort of actions. There is a goal and an interest here to be able to move forward peacefully, to be able to move past this sort of action. But when Iran continues to utilize its proxies, its remaining proxies, I must say, because Israel has successfully partially or fully dismantled elements of their ring of fire that they had around Israel over the last year and a half. But for those that remain, Iran is seeking to take action through their various puppets around the region in order to defend and deflect their own responsibility for this. But they are the ones responsible. They are the ones building the ballistic missiles and arming these proxies with these missiles, and they cannot be allowed to do so with impunity. And the world, and Iran especially, must understand this.